Well, hello there. It is great to see you, and welcome to the inaugural episode of the Impact Report. I'm your host and moderator, Ryan Ruff of the Celebrity Branding Agency, and in a few moments I'll be joined really by the star of our show, and that's Mr. Eric Lawton, the President and CEO of Impact Financial. But before we bring Eric out, I want to set the scene for you, our audience, as to what it is that you can expect on this show moving forward. You see, Eric's invited me on the show to interview him and ask him and really discuss a lot of financial strategies and different wealth management related topics. Now, these are the same topics, strategies, and conversations that Eric is having on a regular basis with his clients over at Impact Financial. We're going to be bringing these same conversations to you here in this show and in this podcast to shed some light on some of these different wealth management related situations. We're going to be tapping into Eric's nearly 2.5 decades worth of experience in this field and really leveraging some of these conversations to help put you and yours on a path, towards a beneficial financial portfolio. Now, that being said, we've got a great topic teed up for you guys today to start our inaugural episode. It's really an overarching strategy, something that you can be doing to your financial portfolio to make sure that you have been taking the necessary steps forward to put you on a path towards living a life of significance, to making sure that your financial portfolio is set up to achieve the goals and aspirations that you desire. But that being said, I don't want to take any wind out of Eric's sails. Let's go ahead and bring him on to get today's conversation rolling. Eric, how you doing today? Good to see you. Welcome aboard the show.
It's great to be here. Excited.
Well, Eric, yeah, excited to have you aboard. I know we've been talking about this show, going through the planning process here in the last month or so, and it's good to finally be here and, being down with you to record this first episode. And Eric, before we dive into really the nitty gritty of our conversation today and the topic we have scheduled, I think it'd be super helpful for our audience if we zoomed out for just a quick moment and maybe had you kind of just tell us who you are. Give us a little bit of background about you, your work at Impact Financial, and some of the conversations that you have with your clients regularly.
Sure, thanks. So, Impact Financial has been a culmination of, like you said, 2.5 decades of working with highly affluent clients, and really our niche of people that we find that we can make the biggest impact on are really those business owners, those entrepreneurs, or just wealthy families that may have already left the working environment and just want to make sure they're making the smartest decisions they can with their money. We found at Impact, the reason we name it Impact is because we want to truly have a significant impact on their lives. And so how do we do that? Well, we work with a very limited number of families, so we can really capture that human element, which is what we call, really understanding everything about those clients, what they're really passionate about, and what they're trying to accomplish, whether it be in their family life, with their money, or their community.
No, I love that. Well, Eric, I appreciate you kind of zooming out and giving us that high level overview on you guys. And I'm excited to hear more about some of the experiences that you have with your clients and some of these kind of conversations in these topics that we have selected for episodes to come. And today, I really love our topic. It's like I said, it's an all encompassing one. And Eric, I was having my coffee this morning. I was thinking, how do I want to get this conversation started with you today? And I just kept coming back to this word uncertainty. You want to talk about uncertainty? Take a look at the last year and a half that we all have experienced between, the COVID-19 pandemic. We had a presidential election, obviously both of those things having massive social and financial ramifications. So a lot of uncertainty, both socially and financially, that's been up in the air for so many families and business owners and the types of people that you work with on a regular basis. So, Eric, let's start by talking then today about what it is that people can be doing right now, given all of that uncertainty, to really give them confidence, peace of mind, ultimately about their finances overall. What can they be doing these days?
Sure. So, you're absolutely right. The environment we're in right now is unprecedented. But the strategies that we have in place, we've been using for years. We like to call it a stress test. They need a stress test. Another term could be a second opinion. But it's really a great way to evaluate whether their financial solutions a client currently has in place are likely to generate the results they want and expect. Stress tests are commonly used by extremely wealthy families, but yet are becoming increasingly popular now with all affluent families.
All right, so it sounds like yes, these stress tests are really a good thing to consider among anybody, really, regardless of their level of affluence. So let's get into the why now. Why would you say this is such a valuable process that families, business owners, individuals should be considering right now, given everything going on in our world?
Sure. So, stress testing is such a good option for people who are in a complex situation, or just want to make sure they're making smart decisions, in today's challenging economy. But, this process is particularly important with everything going on today. As many people are concerned about their finances, getting a second opinion will provide clarity and, most importantly, confidence for these high net worth clients.
Sure. I mean, at the end of the day, you want to make sure you're making the right decisions about your wealth. And boy, does it help to have that second opinion to go through this stress testing process. So it sounds like to me, Eric, that stress testing can be used to evaluate several different things. Could you maybe share with us maybe like the three main ways you would say that this process can be utilized?
Absolutely. So, first, if you want to test your existing plan to see if it's still on target to deliver expected results, right? So, we expect them. We want to make sure we're still on target. You want to test a potential product, a solution, possibly a strategy that's new to you to see how it would likely work out in different scenarios if you implement it. And third, to see if there are opportunities for you, if you're overlooking that it could enhance, improve upon an existing strategy that you're using.
Roger that. So, given those three different main ways, kind of this process is utilized, it sounds to me, Eric, like getting you had mentioned at the beginning in terms of the work that you guys do at Impact Financial is really exploring that human element and getting to the core of your clients goals and needs and wants for their wealth. It sounds like to me this stress testing process, boy, is it important to really incorporate that sense of knowing the client's goals, what they want to pursue. That's key and pivotal in that stress testing process. So let me ask you this then: how do you really get into the heart of your client's goals and values, and to help yourself and your team understand what is most important to them? How do you go about that?
Well, stress testing can be one of the most effective ways to confirm whether a particular approach or product or service is right for an individual or a family. I don't know if you have that graphic. We could throw that up there, right there. But really, what it goes through are sort of these steps that we do when we approach a stress test. The first is profiling, the family or the individual to determine their goals. Second is evaluating existing or proposed services and products by working with assumptions, evaluating alignment with goals, and calculating cost structure. The third, really addressing alternative services or products other than what we're doing right now. And then from there, recommending a course of action. And by the way, we'll have this graphic on the website as well, so don't feel like you're going to miss out on anything.
Sure. Yeah. No, it's a robust process. It sounds like all the way from the top of profiling down to, of course, recommending a course of action moving forward, Eric. And, we have briefly touched on this, and it sounds like it's this idea of stress testing is a commonly utilized strategy among wealthy people, the super rich, if you will. Could you share maybe a lesson or two that can be learned from this group of people? While, of course, we did mention at the top of the show, this is a strategy that can be utilized by anybody. Let's look at the affluent individuals that are using this strategy regularly. Could you maybe share with us a lesson or two that could be utilized from, or at least just learned from those group of people?
Sure. It's so important. If you're even slightly unsure about the viability of your wealth management solutions, you're going to benefit from a stress test, right? I mean, failing to stress test could possibly lead to much more severe problems for you, your loved ones, and many times the most significant failings are due to not enough attention to that human element we're talking about. Often problems result from crossed wires and the client failing to think through what really matters to them and their loved ones.
Yeah. So, I feel like for anybody in our audience right now, Eric, they're probably thinking, okay, this makes sense, right? Getting a second opinion, reevaluating, maybe testing some other strategy that we're thinking about implementing. It all makes sense, but
Yeah,
I'd like to get into really the weeds of it. Could you take
sure.
us through, for our audience, take us through what that stress testing experience might look like and feel like to maybe a current client or even a prospective client? What kinds of questions are you asking them when you're going through this process?
This is an in-person meeting with all the stakeholders. So, for example, a husband and wife. Um, we require 90 minutes. It could go longer, but that's what we require. And we're going to discuss 7 key topics, such as your goals. Money means different things to different people. What does money mean to them, right? Your values, your relationships, assets, liabilities, of course, and then the professionals you work with and any gaps. The next one is process. It's really important for us to understand. In an ideal world, which it could be, how do you like working with those professionals and the experiences you've had in the past? Good, the bad. And then finally, we want to talk about what you like to do in your free time. You really get to understand what you're passionate about.
Sure. So understanding that full client profile, who it is you're dealing with, of course, on a professional, but also a personal level, because it sounds to me like, of course, that's going to drive conversations further. It's going to help you tailor that plan and that stress testing process really to make sure that they are meeting some of those interests and those goals. Okay, so you've gone through the process with a client or a prospective client, Eric. What kind of analysis or assessment are they leaving your office with on the back end of that meeting?
Of course. So after our meeting, I'll come back to them with a very high level diagnostic of where you are, where you want to be, and uncover any of the gaps that are there, right? We're going to provide you with high level ideas of what we would do if we were in your situation. And then from there, we're going to provide you next steps. And one of 3 things is going to be suggested. The first, you're in great shape. And doesn't that give you confidence? I mean, if you were in any doubt and now we're able to uncover this and now you have confidence, we walk away happy people, right? Second, there are a few minor issues, and we can point you in a direction with either your current advisor or recommend one that we would use. And then third, and truly because we only work with a limited number of families, and we see in your situation that we can potentially make a significant impact with you, we would invite you to be part of our family of financially independent clients, helping you to pursue all that's important to you.
Oh, I love that, Eric. So
Yeah.
let me ask you this then for those that are in our audience out there, this whole process is making sense, and maybe they're interested in reaching out to you and your team at Impact Financial to maybe get this process started, maybe have this kind of conversation or that 90-minute meeting to see if the fit's right or, if the stress test is really going to, give them one of those 3 outcomes that you just mentioned. How would they best go about reaching out to you and your team to set that conversation up?
If they're interested in signing up for a stress test or even just want to learn more about how stress testing might help them potentially better their situation, just go to our website, impactyourgoals.com.
Love that. So, Eric, as we bring our conversation to a head, stress testing, all encompassing strategy. It's something that anybody should really be thinking about these days, given the uncertainty that's been going on in our world. And I mean, hey, what is to come? We don't know. So, I mean, boy, is it ever helpful that not only is this done, to make sure the past has been corrected, but of course, it's a recurring strategy. It's something that people want to consider doing periodically moving forward. That being said, Eric, any final thoughts of your own, on this stress testing topic that you might want to leave our viewers with today?
Well, I think you're absolutely right there, making it very clear that stress testing isn't a one-time thing. Once they become part of our family of clients, this is what we do on a regular basis because things change. Events change, the economy changes, your life changes. There are different events that we might want to plan for. So we're constantly going through and vetting the situation to make sure that you're sleeping well, knowing that we're looking at all of the possibilities out there for you.
Awesome. Well, Eric, look, really appreciate you and your time today to jump aboard here on the inaugural episode, dive into stress testing with me. I know we've got some great topics lined up down the road. I'm excited to jump into with you. But hey, look, really appreciate you being here, and I'm excited for the next one.
Great. Thanks a lot, Ryan.
Alrighty, look, and hey, we want to take one final moment to thank you, our audience, for jumping aboard with us here on the inaugural episode of the Impact Report. Do me a favor, if you like today's episode, you enjoyed the conversation, maybe you found it beneficial for yourself, do us a favor, like the show, maybe comment, subscribe to it on whichever platform you're checking us out on, and then, of course, share this information with friends, family, business owners, because ultimately, these conversations that Eric and I are having each episode, they're meant for you. These are tips, strategies that Eric's dealing with his clients on a regular basis, and they're ultimately beneficial. We would hate to have anybody miss out on some of these great conversations that are coming down the road in our future episodes. So for Mr. Eric Lawton, I'm Ryan Ruff. We're saying so long, and we thank you so much for jumping aboard with us on the inaugural episode of the Impact Report.